if we go back to post 1945 and ascend through the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, right? We saw America begin to expand in its role, its hegemony, and its full spectrum dominance, its militarism around the world, crushing Japan and Germany. America grew, but then it started to slow as it passed policies that I think opened it up to destruction: the destruction of the family, the destruction of marriage, the introduction of divorce, no fault divorce, pornography, immigration, amnesty. And then, of course, in the 1990s, the collapse of the Soviet Union. We did a pivot point. Instead of what Ronald Reagan would have done and what I would have done and Scott Ritter would have done and McGregor would have done and the other American intellectuals, instead of going to Russia and embracing them like the prodigal son and the prodigal father and helping Russia transition out of its Bolshevik communist mentality and economy, which you could say was set in motion by the Talmudist, Zionist, American elements in the early part of the century, in the right after World War One. Lenin, of course, being a controlled agent of the West to take out the Tsar and things like that. But instead of the West embracing Russia and unifying its Christian Orthodox personalities and philosophies and really bringing it close, we began to try and cannibalize, rape, and dismember Russia. And I remember those years very vividly. And we had this delusion that we were now the kings of the world, and we could go around the world and claim tribute, steal their resources in exchange for paper money, and take Russia apart one oligarch at a time. The timber, the coal, the natural resources. We would give them fish, but not teach them how to fish. We would collapse their economy, and we did that under Strobe Talbott and Bill Clinton and Al Gore and Larry Summers and the CIA and Chechen wars and NATO invasions of Yugoslavia and the Serbia conflict. I mean, the 90s were rippling with assaults on the Slavic Russian countries, and then breaking Russia apart. The Baltic nations, Ukraine, Poland. We were aggressively sowing the seeds of aggression and animosity and blame and setting up this brainwashing of hatred towards Russia rather than healing and reconciliation. And that was our tragic mistake, because blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. We weren't peacemakers. We were vampires. And it was masqueraded and covered up by nostalgia and divine pageantry and brainwashing.